in Hampshire, and obviously I work from my log cabin in my garden. But it wasn't always like that. I probably decided I wanted to do nails in 2003, and I was 18 at the time and pregnant with my first. But I didn't actually have the confidence to go and do any nail courses until I'd had my second, and it was 2008 then. And I finally did my first course, but we knew we would probably want one more child, and I didn't want to get like a whole business started. So I started my first course, but I was pregnant with him by the time I finished. So he was born in January 2010, and I actually went and did acrylics the same year. So I've kind of like built up literally my nail business as he's grown. So I think it was 2 years, cringe this, 2 years I was doing nails for free. I literally wasn't charging. I had no confidence. I had these three small kids. I was unconfident because I was a young mum as well. And I had an epiphany one day, and I thought, my husband is paying for all these ladies to have their nails done because he worked and I didn't. And I was like, no, I'm going to do this. So I think I did literally that day, October 13, 2011, went on HMRC, set up All About Nails, thought of that name that day. And yeah, I went evenings mobile, and I literally worked 7 evenings a week, probably way too many. And then when he started play school, I did the 2.5 days in evenings. And obviously when he went to school, I did 5 days in evenings. Nearly got burnt out, and then quit evenings altogether. And I carried on the days until I got a bit fed up with doing mobile. It ended up not being for me anymore. And I had a crisis where I was either going to quit nails or perhaps something had to give. And one of my ladies was setting up a room in her house, and she was like, can't you do this? I said, I can't where I live. She said, can't you stick it in your mum's garden? And that was it. The seed was planted. So I asked my parents, could I build a cabin in their garden, which they agreed to. And for 5 years I was in her cabin. It was a game changer for me, and I fell back in love with nails. But then they decided to move house. So then I was back again. I actually was in the MBSC at that point. You probably remember my post. And then I was actually able to set up a business at my own house with my cabin. So yeah, I had the cabin rebuilt, bigger. I bought a new one. It's bigger, it's better. And well, it's since being in the MBSC and being in my new cabin, it's just been crazy.
Oh my God, I love that story. Like, anyone else here that is like, oh, I'm struggling to get going, didn't have the confidence in themselves to start with, it does not, like, Amy's living proof, it does not matter how long it's taken you to get going, or that how crap or rubbish you think you are in the beginning, because literally, like, this has been a major journey for you then, and going from 2 years of procrastination of doing clients for
Mm-hmm.
free. And I love the realization that you had about, you know what, my husband's paying for all
I
these people
know,
to get their
cringe.
nails done. Oh, that's a great story. I love, 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 love that. And so, do you want to? I would love, maybe let's like completely fast forward to today.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just share, and then we can kind of maybe fill the gaps in of what it was, so that kind of everyone who's watching can kind of figure out, well, what was it that Amy did that it was different, so that she could end up going from this person who basically was procrastinating, didn't have any confidence, wasn't charging for years, to now having these incredible months, being fully booked, like loving your business. Do you want to just share, if you don't mind, like what happened with regards to like May and June in your business this year, where it currently is at with regards to like revenue or profit, with the types of clients that you're attracting in, and kind of how you're feeling about your business as well?
Oh yeah, it's amazing now. I absolutely love it. I have so much more self-worth and confidence now because of like the position I'm in. I think obviously it was the work that I put in and the trainings for the MBSC that led to this point. Without that, I would still be sitting back where I was. But yeah, very, very almost hit the 4K last month. Obviously, it was my son had an accident. It was there on paper, but I lost a day's work. I'm set to hit it this month. I think I noticed this morning because I was having a look at my stats before, joining this call, and I noticed that I am doing effectively the same amount of appointments that I was doing about a year and a half ago, but obviously earning this money now. But even though there's not much difference in the amount of appointments, so I can see that the price increases were a big help for that. But obviously, I couldn't have had those price increases if I didn't have the mindset and have done those trainings to change the way I felt about it. One of the big things I changed was obviously knowing who my client was. So now that I know who they are, like nearly every client is my client. And I think that helps because obviously they then rebook. And that was the biggest thing, is getting them to rebook, because you've already got that large amount in and you're just filling up the few gaps
Yeah.
as time goes on.
Oh my God, that is it. I'm just going to grab my notepad. No, so I was like, I want to take a note of something that you just said then. But the fact that you are doing, and this will blow I really hope those of you who are watching really like pull in on what Amy's saying here. Like doing the same amount of appointments, but earning, and I looked back at like our messages, and I think you were probably at about, I think it was 1,000, 1,500.
Thousand,
Yeah,
yeah,
£1,000 a month.
1,000 to 1,200. And
Okay.
I was doing about 90, 95, 100 appointments. And like this month, I have 118. So that's not a big difference in appointments to go from 1,000 to 4,000.
Wow. So you are earning, I mean, even if we gave it like the lower end, 3.5 times or 3 times the amount what you were 1 year ago, you're not working more appointments, but you're earning 3.5, 4 times more than what you were then. And when you joined MBSC, because most people will be watching this and they're going to be like, well, that's great for Amy, but I have no idea how that is possible for me because of where I live, because of the current clients that I have. Like, what were thoughts? Like, if we went back to like 2 years ago, Amy, and you were like thinking, oh, there's someone, I'm watching this interview and there's someone saying that it's possible for me to earn 4K from my cabin. Like, did you like have that belief then, or really was it like that's never going to happen to me? And
No,
what was the
not
thought
at all.
process?
No, not at all. I used to look at people like Laura and Holly and just think, yeah, they can do it because they're them and they looked fabulous. They come across fabulous. And they come across with a lot more confidence. And I thought, no, like, there's no way that I would be able to do that. I don't really think about the area. I don't think the area would have had anything to do with it, because I have people that come to me now that actually lived by the other cabin and vice versa. So I think it's just who you're attracting online. That was the biggest thing for me. It's not really where they're coming from. It's
Yeah.
that they were my type of client.
Cool. So you didn't have the limiting belief about your area and what
No.
that meant to what you could earn. But I guess then for you, the main thing was I don't think I could warrant
Oh,
charging that. And did you have a lot of fear over losing your current clients? Like,
um, the ladies that I had kind of been with me for a long time. It was more I didn't feel I could attract new ones. That was more, I think a lot of my issues have been me and my mindset. I can't do this. I'm not good enough at now tech or nice enough person. It was all changing it internally rather than externally.
yeah. Wow, amazing. Such incredible results. And like other than the money, like what other like great things now do you feel like you have in the business? So like, for example, the clients that you're attracting, the what the money allows you to do, maybe even whether that's like continued personal development in your business or out of your business, but how has the impact of like having this increase in revenue like impacted other parts of your life?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely given me an awful lot more confidence. I often say, like at school, I wasn't really very academic. I didn't really like my children all get A stars. I was not A star. They take the mick out of me all the time. So to be able to have like this really successful business that obviously I started from literally like as we all do mobile with your bag, it's definitely given me a lot of confidence. Obviously, we shouldn't always think of the money, but the money is just outrageous. Like when I was at stay-at-home mum, we didn't really have money, and now you can just do things. I just bought like concert tickets for my son, a prom dress for my daughter, and you don't, yeah, you don't worry. I don't worry about it anymore. I know we can do things, and that's obviously that's massive. But yeah, like actual knowing that this amount of people want to spend this much money in my cabin with me talking to me is just, it's empowering. It's just wonderful.
I love it. Yeah, and like you were saying, like the confidence that comes off the back of having this, like it is one. I think like there's two parts of the confidence thing. I think one, the confidence has to increase so that you can allow that money and the new kind of level of clients that you want to flow to you. But then also, as that happens, you kind of, your confidence goes up again. Did you feel like that?
Yeah, it's definitely an up down, like, and it's a very much a constant work in progress. And I often revert back to certain trainings, and I constantly rewatch them to bring myself back up again. And I tend to write down all the wins that I've ever had since joining, and I read over them as well to constantly keep that high, you know.
Yeah, amazing. Oh my God. And you know what? I cannot believe you're doing this with 3 kids as well. Like bringing in, you've got 3 kids and you're bringing in 4K a month doing nails from a cabin in your garden. Like it is so, so inspiring. And I think if there's anyone watching there that thought, oh, it's not possible for me because I only work from home, or it's not possible for me because I'm a mum, or whatever the kind of beliefs that you have here, like, always look for someone who is proving that misbelief wrong. And like Amy right here is shunning so many of those misbeliefs now, that even if you don't have confidence in the beginning, even if you spend years trying to get off the thing and like get your nails to a good enough quality to feel like you can charge, like it all can still work out. And what happens in your past doesn't equal, you know, same with the academic thing you were saying, like what we do in our past, like the cleverness that we have, or, you know, the academicness that we have, it does not equate to what we can earn doing nails. It's just down to completely different kind of factors. So when did you join MBSC?
March last year.
Cool. So just over a year, so we're talking about 14 months now that you've been in Nail Business Success Club. So when you started, you were on 1,200 a month-ish. And what was the main driver for joining for you?
I was working full-time on a part-time wage, and your post come up and it talked about that, and that just hit me. I wanted that.
Okay, fab. And were you nervous, skeptical?
No, do you know what? I was going through my messages this morning. I tell like my best friend, my mum, everything, and I was looking at the messages to see if I had that, but I didn't. The way I saw it was just a drop in the ocean. Like, you know, most people were worried about the cost. It was just such a small drop of what you told me in a message, that you could probably double or triple my income. And I had actually said to my best friend at the time, I'd been looking at everyone's wins, where you share all the wins, and I thought, if they're sharing all this and you're telling me I can do it, I'm excited. I didn't really have, I couldn't have gone worse, could I?
Yeah. And that, I think, is great, right? To come into it having that confidence of like, I'm just going to do the work, what I need to in order to make it happen. And it is work, right? Like it doesn't magically, you don't join MBSC. So for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, Now Business Success Club, it's a program that we have that Amy joined, and that she's been in for 14 months now. And we basically help you to, first of all, kind of earn an extra 1K a month without working harder. I mean, obviously, if you're not fully booked, we're going to help you to get fully booked first. But even if you're fully booked, like Amy was busy, she was working full time, but wasn't earning great. And you know what? None of us should have to work full time. Like, we put so much effort and also like investment into our own businesses, especially in the beginning, to then just earn what actually you could just working for someone else in their salon without all the stress. And like, I think sometimes people think that because they're getting the like flexibility from having their own business and a bit more freedom, that should mean that they don't have to earn epically as well. But actually, you live in proof again that you can have both, right? Like you can have a family, you can raise them, and you can also earn amazingly doing a job that you absolutely love. And a quick question, because I've seen it pop up and it's probably quite important. What services do you offer?
Oh, so I mainly do gel with IBX. That's the most thing that I do. Obviously basic gel, and then I do acrylic, but acrylic is like a quarter of what I do. When I joined the MBSC, I wasn't even doing pedicures because I gave them up in COVID because of wearing the mask with my glasses. And I brought them back in. So I do pedicures, but I don't even do builder at the moment. It's something I've done the course, but I haven't even got the certificate. So I've got that to bring in yet. So it can only go up.
Amazing. Fab. Okay, cool. So joined MBSC, and then obviously we've started to mention like you have to do some work in it, right? So what do you feel like was, I don't know, if you can, a couple of strategies or a couple of things that you implemented from the MBSC that you think has made the biggest difference to like you going from that 1,200 to that 4K?
Okay, so I would definitely say like at the beginning, I literally revamped everything. I rebranded, I brought back pedicures, I got stricter on my hours. I really honed in on who was my clients. I did loads at the beginning. I didn't really feel like I saw those results till probably about the 6 month mark. But for me, I think the biggest thing was actually working out who my client was. I know very clearly who she is. Then I changed my branding to reflect that. So those two things worked quite well. And then obviously I did lots of sharing into the groups on the Monday. So I think that because I was talking to my client, I was now in front of my client. And then when they checked on my page, I was reinforcing all of that. That's how I got so many new ladies that then stayed with me. So I think the biggest thing, I suppose, really was, I guess, the branding and knowing who my client was and connecting the two.
Yeah, amazing. And actually, I really maybe want to hone in on what you were saying there about not having instant results, but still having now incredible results. And would you say that, like, because we talk a lot about consistency, right, inside the MBSC, and I think for those of you who are watching who are not in the Now Business Success Club, like, what happens is for most people is they don't stay consistent enough to what it is that they're trying to do. So for example, they might randomly post a few times, or whether that's in groups, on their page, on Instagram or whatever, feel like it's not working, and so fall off the consistency of it and stop doing it. And then that basically you're just back at the start again. Would you say, because obviously, like, and I love it, like, because some people do come into the MBC and it's very, very quick. Like, you know, Claire Roscoe, 3 months in, went from 1,200 to 4,000. Not necessarily a normal thing to happen, right? For most people, to go from 1,200 to a month to 4,000 in a year, like you have, is absolutely phenomenal in itself. But very, very interesting that it was kind of a bit like, you know, we talk about the success runway in the masterclasses and making sure that, like, you're ready for takeoff before you take off, essentially, so that you're not then crashing and burning 1 month into it. So would you say that's like quite a good analogy?
1,000%. Yeah, definitely. And I feel like all the time that I was tweaking and changing and consistently pushing back then, and even now I try very hard to be consistent. Like, I block out every Monday morning to continue with the admin side of things, messaging my posts. But even literally this morning, I had a new lady in, and she said, I followed you for a while, and I recognize her name, and she's probably followed me for about a year. So that constantly keep being put in front of her, saying the right things, has now led her to book in and now hopefully become a regular because she's booked in a few appointments. So definitely, like, laying down the foundations back then is what's helping me now. Definitely.
And if you hadn't have joined MBSC, like, where do you think you'd still be at 1,200, gone up hopefully a bit, or like, where do you think it would have been?
Honestly, I probably would have been in exactly the same place, fully booked in the evenings, working 5 evenings a week, which I didn't want to do. Occasionally, I would have no clients in the day at all. I think I'd be in the same place. I think when I messaged you for the very first time, I think I'd already said I'd messaged my best friend a couple of times, who was a marketing kind of girl in
Oh
her
yeah.
job. And even, obviously she couldn't have done this, but I was already clearly thinking, this isn't working. Something needs to change. So I don't actually know what I would have done. I can't imagine not being a now tech, but perhaps maybe I wouldn't have been, like my youngest is now 13. He doesn't need me now. It was time for me to start working more. So I don't know. I might have even quit nails. I don't know. Not here. I definitely wouldn't have been here.
Yeah, and I think it's sometimes we can't quite, like, you wouldn't have known how it was going to happen, right? Like, when a year ago, you would have thought, oh, that's really nice. I don't know how it's going to happen. And so you kind of put a little bit of, well, it's kind of faith, isn't it, into yourself, into joining MBSC, to be like, I don't know exactly, like, it's not all laid out in front of me exactly how it's going to all pan out over the next year. So did it take, like, did you have, like, you feel like you had faith, like, in the program before you joined, and you just kind of maybe had like an intuition of, like, this is what I need to do?
I guess so. I just wanted what they were sharing. What they were sharing, their wins, I wanted them for myself. And yeah, I don't normally do risky things, and it felt a tiny bit of, oh, this is big. But yeah, it just didn't feel big enough to not make me do it. Like, what's the worst that could happen,
Yeah, I love
But
that.
yeah. I know.
Amazing. Guys, can you let us know into the chat, like who feels like they've been inspired by what Amy's been saying now? What questions do you have around, like maybe her growth in itself, her business, how she's operating it, anything that you have to ask her, just pop those into the chat. Um, I would love to also find out from you, Amy, like, can we dive a little bit into ideal clients? Because you
Mhm.
mentioned like that, you're attracting lots of your ideal clients. I saw on your page you don't obviously get too many new clients now because you are like so booked up with your regulars, which makes me think most of your clients are regulars and they come back all of the time. How has that progressed over the last, not even just since MBSC, but like, over the last kind of 5 years or so? How have you found, like, that your ideal clients has who your ideal client changed? First of all, I guess is the first question. And like, do you feel like it will probably change again in the future, and it's something that you'll continue kind of to work on, or how does that?
Yes, definitely they changed. I used to get one-offs, young girls. I guess that I was probably attracting them. And they would have one holiday nails, they would disappear. Now my ladies are professional, successful, normally business owners. They could have been in the Navy, they might have just retired. A lot of them have retired early, and they're normally sort of 40 to 60. Quite a few of them are single, they go on holidays on their, they're kind of everyone I aspire to be. So they're like confident and they're
Single.
I'll spend time with them sort of ladies to steal their vibe a little bit.
Yeah.
They're always regulars. They don't really care about, how much they're spending. They don't mind. They come back 2 weeks because they don't want the regrowth there. And as for changing, I don't know. I've already been thinking about this a little bit. Like, something you said about a salon in London where you look at it and know that it's luxurious. So yes, I think potentially I might change my branding again sometime in the future. Not yet, way too busy, but maybe sometime in the future. I feel like that could be a potential for growth. But I don't know about my ladies. I think they're still who I want to
Yeah.
bring in to spend time with me.
I love, like, as well, like we talk quite a lot, don't we, in NBC about attracting the right clients. And yes, it's the right clients for each of us, like as an individual, and like who we're going to gel with, who we can like have a nice chat with, for example, like during the appointments. But it is so important, and something that you've kind of mentioned there about having clients who can afford to keep getting their nails done, but also that can afford to support the business that you want to run. Like, and I think that's probably quite an issue for many people out there that are watching this, who currently probably are or may be attracting like people that are just like scrimping together, especially at this time of year. They're literally just like, oh, well, I'm going on holiday in August, so I'll get my nails done as a one-off treat once a year for that. And even though that's fine in the beginning, like when you're just starting, and if you're like, I just want some clients in through the door, like it is fine, but it doesn't build like a 4K a month business, will it?
No, definitely not. No, some of my ladies come even quicker because they've got a holiday, but they wouldn't want to go till after it. So, you could see them sort of 10 days sometimes. They don't take any notice.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, a couple of questions I think that have come up. So, what days, hours did you go from and to? So I mean, you pretty much do the same times, but you
It's
stopped working as many evenings,
Yeah,
or?
so I do standard. I do 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. because I was doing school runs, and then yeah, evenings I was doing loads, five, sometimes weekends. Now I literally do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I just do two clients on those evenings. And yeah, it's much more manageable.
So good, isn't it? And I think is one of the things also, like, would you say like your boundaries are now better within the business?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Let's share a little
Yeah.
bit about that.
Yeah, I think someone in the MBSC said every time you say yes to a client, you're saying no to your children. And it hit me hard. And that's kind of my mantra. And I am flexible because obviously sometimes things happen. But overall, that's what's helped me the most to stick to my boundaries.
Yeah, oh, I love that. That's something we work in. Like, so Amy's in the MBSC Epic Living Program. We've got two MBSC programs. We've got the 1K a month club and the Epic Living Program. 1K a month club, just very quickly, so people kind of understand where we're kind of coming out when we're talking about it. But the 1K a month club is for those who are just kind of starting out or aren't currently earning like at least kind of £700 a month. And then the Epic Living Club is for those who are already earning kind of at least 1K a month and are wanting to grow their business, even whether that's having an extra 1k, 2k, 3k, 4k kind of a month coming in your business. And obviously Amy is absolute frigging proof that that has been totally possible, you know, and has done incredibly well, even though she's been doing it, like, it blows my mind, like, you've been doing this for like 12, 15 years before. So it was like, it wasn't like, oh, I've just done it and, you know, it's just grown. It's like you had all that time where things were, you know, kind of just going like a bit like that. And now it's reached 1 year and gone crazy like that. And one of the things that we have in both of our programs is coaching calls. And Amy is, oh, well, you come to a few.
I try to, because I block out Monday mornings, I come to every Monday morning one. I can't do the evening ones because I work.
And before you joined MBSC, because obviously, like, people join, they're like, I think sometimes there's a misconception that it's just about like getting a few clients in through the door, and if you've already got loads of clients, kind of, you don't really need it. But what would you say with regards to the coaching calls and how they have hopefully impacted like the change in your mindset and in the confidence that's allowed you to go from the 1200 to the 4k?
Yeah, definitely. I need those calls. They bring me back up every time, from hearing what other people are struggling with and coming through and seeing them constantly pushing. So that helps. And obviously, like, even now, every Zoom call, I have a notepad and I write down notes, and I'm always changing and implementing new things that you're learning from other people. Definitely doesn't just stop. It's like an ongoing process.
Yeah, because I guess even once, because I remember when I was looking back at our messages and stuff and your wins kind of throughout the last year, there was one which was like, oh, when I joined this, I set my, like, you know, Joe was saying I could get to 4 to 5k. I wasn't sure that that was possible, so I set my goal at 2k. And then you're like, and then you're like, oh, and now I've done 3k, and now you're like, right, and I'm very close to 4k. And I think you said you were like £8 off it this month, so you'll get there this month.
Yeah,
you've still got like half the month left, which is incredible. You're just about to implement a price increase as well, so
I am. Yeah, £5 on top.
Yeah, so does that take you potential probably to 4.5, 5k potentially?
I haven't worked it out because I'm too excited, but yeah, I think it should do. Should be